We've always said we would consider new material ever since these fresh allegations, if you call them that, emerged last July. In terms of Sean Hall, that is new material, as I stated yesterday, and of course we will be, I've indicated we will be seeing him at some stage in the near future. We'll then consider what he's got to say, and then consider the necessity to see Mr. Coulson. But at some stage, I imagine we would be seeing Mr. Coulson in some capacity, yes.
So the process is, you've seen the New York Times article.
Yes.
You believe that Mr. Hall's statements in there are worth pursuing. Is that
yes,
right?
it's new material. It's something we haven't. I mean, my understanding is that Mr. Hall was sacked some sort of 7 years ago and left the news of the world. So he never featured in an inquiry in 2006, as you can probably imagine. Why would he? But he's come up from left field, and we will consider it, and no doubt be speaking to him in the near future.
You will contact him because on the radio you were saying you were waiting for some information from the New York Times.
Well, we spoke to the New York Times because clearly we want to understand what material they have. They've already indicated that they're not prepared to help us on the basis that it's journalistic privilege. I understand that. But I've written to them again, or colleagues written to them again today, to see whether they're willing to waive that privilege in these what are quite exceptional circumstances. So I'm not hopeful, but we'll try there first, because they clearly will have a lot of material that they've dealt with over the last 6 months or so.
To pick up on the lack of proprietary, we know from evidence given to the DCMS committee that there were financial exchanges between the News of the World, for example, and members of the Metropolitan Police, that this was a regular issue. And it's been said before that the Metropolitan Police Press Department tried to get involved in this. I believe they were rebuffed. And there's clearly a question that the public have a right to be sure that the police are not affected by financial gain from newspaper, from being unable to investigate that newspaper properly. I also have concerns about thoroughness. For example, I understand that reporter Ross Hall transcribed an illegally hacked phone call from Glenn Mulcair that he recorded. According to the DCMS report, page 108, the email was a strong indication both of additional law breaking and of the possible involvement of others. That's a quote from that. I understand that this reporter, for example, was not questioned by police. Surely he would have been an obvious person to interview to find out what had happened there.
The allegations that were made, I think it was this select committee, or when they made Culture, Media and Sports Select Committee around, I think it was Rebecca Wade, in 2003, clearly referred to the fact they had made payments to police officers. That has happened on occasions. I don't think we'd never deny it, and people have been caught, sent to prison for it, or otherwise dealt with by the law. And it is reprehensible, and we do not, in any way whatsoever. But very, very small numbers, very, very small numbers, and we remain committed to sort of rooting that out at any time. So on that point. The second point you make, as you refer to the paper yourself, it was examined in the previous select committee. I think I gave a very plain answer that saying it may have been better that we did interview the Neville person then, but we didn't. And I also said it would make absolutely no difference now if we did against those two people in terms of what they've already been sentenced to and dealt with by the courts.
Okay, but there's still a public appearance at their issues.
No.
Would you welcome an investigation, at least to let the public's mind be at rest, that there is nothing for them to be concerned about?
Let's take it stage by stage. I've always said new material, we'll consider it. We now are considering that. If the new material equals new evidence and warrants reopening the investigation, then that's what we'll do. And I'm absolutely clear on that point.